This program today is brought to you by BizDevZar, the world's leading provider of online business templates and tools. With them, you can save time, work less, but still thrive. Not only think out of the box, but get rid of it. Now, please enjoy the featured presentation.
Hey everybody, my name is Jerry Paleo, and I'm going to be your next speaker. And what we're going to be talking about today is burnout and post-traumatic stress disorder. Doesn't that sound like fun? Okay? So let me ask you a question. How many of you in here have ever been burned out? Okay, how many of you didn't raise your hand but said, I don't want anybody to know that I was burned out because I'm sitting right beside my supervisor or boss? Okay? Well, burnout is it's rampant in the modern workplace. Okay, I think we all admit that. There's a lot of things that cause burnout. And about 14 years ago, I was like 6 at the time, about 14 years ago, I started on a quest. And what I was trying to discover was the answer to 3 questions. Number 1, what causes burnout? Now, you'd think that's pretty easy, right? Everybody knows what causes burnout. You know, it's work overload, it's a lousy boss, you know, you don't know what you want, et cetera, et cetera. But I wasn't sure about that. Secondly, what maintains burnout? Now, for all of you who have been burned out, how long do you feel like you were burned out? A day? You're looking at me like, yeah, a day, that's right. A month? A year? Burnout lasts a very long time. So what I was trying to figure out is, okay, burnout gets caused, but why do we keep staying burned out? It doesn't make sense, because all of you were burned out. Did you like that feeling? Yeah, you're looking at me like she's really nuts now, right? But you didn't like the feeling, but why did you continue to be burned out? What was going on? So then I started asking, well, how can we avoid burnout? Or if you're already burned out, how do you overcome it and come out on the other side? Well, what that led up to is something that I call BDOC. BDOC is the burnout during organizational change model, and BDOC is just a lot faster to say than burnout during organizational change model. This model was developed when I was doing my dissertation for my PhD. And I interviewed very extensively people who had burned out to find out what was really going on. How did they burn out? Why did they burn out? How did they come out from it? What was going on? And if you look at this, what I noticed, and I was focusing during organizational change, is all the people who burned out were those star employees. They were the ones that give me 110%. These were the ones who said, I can do it, give me more, give me more. But the problem is, things happened, and they started getting frustrated. Maybe they didn't have the resources. Maybe they had a boss who took credit for all of their hard work. Okay? What do you think happened after they got frustrated? They got angry. I had one participant, very intelligent man, who said, well, I was a sales manager, and my best sales rep and I got into it. When we came back out in the bullpen, everybody was gone and the pictures were skewed on all the walls. He left the industry totally because the anger he could no longer control. After the anger, there's some self-preservation that starts coming in, and these employees started becoming apathetic. This is when the boss says to you, hey, we need you to do another project, okay? And they go, sure. Don't care anymore. After the apathy, then they went into full-blown burnout. Now, I will tell you, burnout, if you can sleep it off in one weekend, you ain't burned out, okay? Because burnout just keeps on going and going and going. There's physical problems with burnout. There's emotional problems. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who's been burned out? They're nasty, very nasty. And in that burnout, it literally is like the vacant shell of a burned out building. How many of you remember 9/11? How many of you remember that image of the World Trade Center where there was just one wall up and everything else was dead around it? That's what burnout is. These people feel like life is over. It's a bad situation to be in. And usually when you hit it all the way down there in the burnout, then something comes up and you say, I got to get out. So what do? First off, withdrawal, removal, either physically or psychologically. The presenteeism in the workplace. They're there, but they're not really there. Or almost every one of my participants left not only the employer, they left the whole industry. They couldn't take it anymore. They wanted out. But that's not the recovery. They then had to have self-knowledge and acceptance. They had to understand what was going on. They had to accept it. And then finally, there's a revised psychological contract with the employee. Now, some of you, when you looked at this chart, said, boy, that is one of the worst inverted bell curves I've ever seen in my entire life, because it's not even. But it's that way for a reason. The descent into burnout is really fast, but the recovery is very slow. So when you look at this, into this descent, the hope leads to frustration, leads to anger, leads to apathy, then finally you're in burnout.
Being hardworking and dedicated are admirable qualities. But it is also important that you know where to draw the line. Bear in mind, your work can easily overwhelm you. Here is a list of 6 signs that are screaming, your work-life balance is out of control. 1. When free time becomes a foreign concept. You can't remember the last time you did anything that was not work-related. 2. When you carry the load alone. Remember, you do not possess superpowers, you cannot do it all alone. 3. When most of your aspirations are job-related. While having lofty career goals may be quite admirable, they should not be the majority of things you hope to achieve. 4. When your mind is always in work mode. 5. When work is all you talk about. 6. When work impacts your entire life. And it determines your priorities, in most situations. It is time to stop believing that accepting help is a sign of weakness. As soon as you do that, you'll be happier, healthier, more loved, and ironically, even more successful.